All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today I was browsing through Instagram and I seen Merab post a very interesting story. And for the Merab O'Malley fans out there, this could be very, very, very bad news. Now, so Merab, he basically shows a video of his toe, and on his right pinky, it looks like it's not completely mangled, but definitely shows signs of some form of disfiguration. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I cannot confirm that it's broken or whatever, but so he starts off the video and he's like, "Why you break my toe?" Like jokingly or whatever. And his sparring partner's like, "No, that was you. You tried to kick me in the head. So you broke your toe." So like I said, it's not confirmed that he broke his toe, I'm sure, because Merab often trains in the PI, so I'm sure they'll do like a scan on it and then reveal it soon. But yeah, it's not looking good, especially if you go continue through the video. So, and then I don't know if these are his coaches or his friends or something, but a few of these guys that are standing around him, they show like genuine concern. And Merab is very unserious. Like he's very like jokes around. He's like, "Oh, I cut it off, brother." And unless you're Tim Welch talking shit to him from the sidelines, generally he's a really nice guy and he doesn't take things to heart. But yeah, his friends are not looking very thrilled. So one of them bends down. He's like, and you see his face. Like it shows a lot of panic in it. And then you see another friend, like he leans in to talk to Rob. He's like, "This happened today?" Like they are not having it. And yeah, assuming the worst, because like I said, he showed all his friends and they all look very upset. Let's assume the worst case scenario. It is broken. Dana White, I swear, he's probably like when Johnny Walker was fighting Anthony Smith. He sees this video, he's like, "What?" Like, because Dana White, you look at the John Jones shit. John Jones basically said he's retired. You look at this, where Merab might be out of the pay-per-view, and we'll go through the card later, but yeah, if this main event's canceled, oh my god, it is not looking good for the pay-per-view buys. And that's the thing. Some would say this might be karma for Dana White for trying to jump around in boxing and slap fight bullshit and kind of, I don't want to say half-assed, but definitely not putting full effort and full... You definitely don't feel the passion of Dana White and the UFC promotion as a whole towards their cards these days. So, like I said, this may be karma, divine intervention, I don't know. But, yeah, maybe this is a wake-up call that... Because back in the day, as much as like a main event was canceled or whatever, it wouldn't be like end of the world, you know what I mean? Because there would still be interest in the card. There would still be like, okay, well, at least there's this other championship belt. Well, and, look at all these crazy fights. Like, yeah, I'll still watch whatever. I'll still pay for it. It's all good. Whereas nowadays, as much as Dana White likes to shit on boxing, a lot of these cards are like top heavy, where it's like the main event. And I'm talking from like the casual perspective. Obviously, there's decent fights on all these cards, but from a casual perspective who is buying the pay-per-views, you look at this, really, there's only excitement for the O'Malley-Merab one, because I've been going through all these internet places like Reddit, all this, the Twitter, Instagram, you look through the comments, you don't really see anyone talking about the Juliana Harrison or the Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison fight. There's really not a lot of intrigue in that. And then let's say if we go down the card here. So you look, like I said, Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison. Are people really excited about that? Are people really willing to put out, depending on where you live, $80, $90 or, $400 for a fucking nosebleed ticket for that? Let's say if Merab pulls out, and then you got Calvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Really good fight, but, that's feature fight. So it's the third from the top. Is that really pay-per-view worthy? Like, is it, like I said, great fight, but you look, both of them, they're unranked. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how is that on the main card? Then underneath that, you got Mario Batista at number 10 versus Patchy Mix. Now, there's a lot of excitement about Patchy Mix, and a lot of people are saying, especially like people who train with him are obviously going to be biased, but they're saying that, yeah, he could easily be champion. He's really, really good. So, this is we could have a new star on our hands here, but at the same time, he's not exactly the most popular. as of yet, he could have this breakout performance, especially a lot of people are hating on Mario Batista for his last few performances. So, that could save the card fight-wise, but moving on, you got Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. That's another fight night level, because Vicente Luque, he is number 14th, and Kevin Holland's unranked. So, like I said, is that really pay-per-view 80, 90, fucking $100, depending on where you are? Is that worth it? I'm going to say no. This card is relatively weak from a casual perspective. Hardcore, these are going to be really good fights, but, the people who are trying to pay the UFC's bills, I don't know. Now, like I said before, let's assume the worst case scenario, Merab has to pull out. Because Merab is very, 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 he's a very tough guy. He comes from a tough country. And that's the thing. He was joking, like I said. He's like, oh, we cut it off, whatever. But if the commission sees that he has a broken toe, they're not going to let him fight. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I don't think you can heal from a broken toe in 2 weeks. So, like I said, let's assume worst case scenario. There are some fighters who are willing to stay on these cards because they're like, fuck, I put in a camp, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put it to waste, you know what I mean? Like, I have bills to pay. O'Malley, he's one of the stars, so I'm sure he's not struggling for money. But at the same time, the last time he fought, let's take a look here. It was literally against Merab, and this was in September 14th, 2024. So it's been a while since O'Malley's fought. So if I'm O'Malley, I'm going to want to stay on the card to not only, get the most out of your training camp, but also to remind the fans like who you are. Because the last fight, because that's the thing, you look at the promotion and everything, O'Malley's done fuck all for this promotion. So he's at risk of losing a lot of fans as well because people, like I said before, they're very, very pushing back on this fight because they're like, no one really wants this rematch, you know what I mean? They want to see O'Malley prove himself again. A lot of people were saying that O'Malley should have fought Peter Yan again for the number one contender, but the UFC does have their favorites, very clearly these days. And I was thinking, Merab, I don't think the UFC is in love with Merab. I'll be honest with you. He's not exactly a big finisher. He tries his best to promote himself, and I'll give him that. You know what I mean? He's not one of those people who just says nothing. But I don't know how big of an audience he's got, and I don't know if the UFC truly, truly, truly wants him to be their champion. So I can see the UFC doing the interim kind of thing. Because there are some people where it's like, they don't even want to touch that because they respect them too much, John Jones, and they'll just let them sit on the sidelines for whatever. But I feel like in this scenario, they'd be willing to put on an interim belt. And you know who I think they're going to call up? Obviously, they might call Peter Yan or whatever, but I think the first person they're going to call is Corey Sandhagen. Because Corey Sandhagen just recently fought. He didn't really take a lot of damage, if any damage. He dominated Davison Figueiredo. And that's the thing. I don't remember if he said he was going to, or he was willing to be a backup or anything, but I feel like if Corey Sandhagen would definitely jump on this opportunity to have the interim championship because Corey's never touched gold. He's tried, but, every time there's the big, big, big moments, he's, I don't want to say choked, but he didn't live up to the expectations. Not by, he's not getting dog walked by any means, but Corey Sandhagen, he is getting older, and I feel like he would definitely jump on this opportunity, depending on how, fit he is and depending on that. But if you look at Corey Sandhagen, he's not like Patty, where he's going to blow up after these fights and eat a bunch of shit. So as much as it is a quick turnaround, he's probably still relatively in fight shape, so I don't think the weight cut would be like a nightmare. Obviously, it's not ideal because you want a bit longer to prepare for this kind of thing. But yeah, I think if anything, they're going to try to keep O'Malley on the card and get Corey Sandhagen. That would be great. But, with the UFC these days, don't hold your breath because they're not exactly in the business of impressing the fans anymore. So it is what it is. I hope it's not broken, but all signs are pointing towards it is. So yeah, I'd be a lot happier seeing O'Malley fight Corey Sandhagen. That's the fight I want to see a lot more than this fight because, like I said in my recent video, I rewatched the fight and Merab looked like he had his way with O'Malley. Every time he got him on the ground, O'Malley kind of just accepted position. And O'Malley said, oh yeah, he's got his, not broken, but he had a torn hip or something like that. He had an injury going in. So, that could be the difference maker in the rematch. I don't know, but I just don't really see this fight going any other way. And not only that, I'm not alone on this. The odds say that as well. The odds are minus 325 Merab and plus 260 for O'Malley. And I'm on the UFC website, so obviously the odds could be a little different where you're at or whoever you gamble with. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys think that they should replace if Merab has to pull out? And whether you guys think it's going to be an interim. I don't know. These are just my thoughts. I'd like to see O'Malley versus Sandhagen interim. I feel like it may not save the card and do like a billion pay-per-view buys or anything, but it'd be a lot better than having just Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison and O'Malley off the card. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.